And that actually leads, I think, rather nicely into the next area that I wanted to touch on, which is the question of whether all art is political. And by that, I'm not talking about, specifically polemical art of the, let's say, Bertolt Brecht variety. But I'd like to suggest that at a certain fundamental level, all art is political, and art evokes experience, emotion, compassion, and recognition that is fundamentally human. And the fact that it also allows people to empathize with others who are completely unlike them, that is a recognition of a common humanity that can be foundational in a democratic society.
Great art is a whole bunch of things. It can't help but be political, even if it doesn't realize it is. Most of the time, the politics has to be buried deep within it, because if it's political on the surface, it runs into the Brecht problem, which is a limiting problem, right? But so, I mean, if you do go back to Athens, here you got a society with slaves, a much less evil version of slavery than that of Brazil and the United States. But the citizens are given, who are mainly farmers, are given paid time off because they don't have much money. They are paid to come to Athens to go to the big political meetings, but to go to the theater. Because the theater, which is great art, we're still looking at the plays that have survived, and they're very funny, they're very serious, and so on. The theater was the place in which, in a most complex way, were able to think about themselves, truth, society, obligation, engagement, the group versus the individual, why they belonged, what it meant to, so standing up in the agora or in whatever form of gathering was fundamentally a much less fundamental thing than going to a play and then talking and thinking about the play and talking about the play. That formed completely how you were going to deal with everything else. So that you had this, which was the plays are all about doubt in its most profound sense, politics in its most profound sense. But then the art then bleeds into everything else. So you have all the formalities, which every society needs to have, where art has to be at the center of the formalities of the society and the democracy and the religion, everything. You also have it, for example, we've tried to recreate it and failed totally because of money. You also have the role of art in sports, the role of sports in society, which of course the Athenians understood completely. And we understand now less than we did 50 years ago because of the commercialization.
Right.
So that the introduction of culture, quotes unquote, into the Olympics is really window dressing. I mean, good people come and they're paid some money, and that's always good for artists, right? Always good. But it's not what was meant by art at the Olympics in the time of Athens. It was an integrated part, as it was into military, as it was into everything that society did. So that the most damning and dangerous part of what we're struggling with today is that although there are probably more artists per capita than there've ever been, good, medium, and bad, whatever that is, and we don't know which is which yet, right?
Right.
That's found out later on.
Yeah, time will tell.
Time will tell. Sometimes we got it right, sometimes we got it completely wrong. But we have allowed art to be marginalized from the reality of politics and citizenship and the great ethical debates of the citizenry, and completely from sports, from business, largely from the civil services, completely from government and politics. It's all been marginalized. So what's left is a kind of struggle on the margins, and good people try to draw it in, but are constantly shoved back, so that the heart of the arts, when you look at how society functions, is largely about entertaining the middle class on the weekend.